Hello everybody, my name is Simon Wright and I'm one of the Associate Directors at Strode College. I look after the creative and performing arts, so I'm going to go through some of the subjects, well all of the subjects in the creative and performing arts department this evening. I'm looking forward to giving you a few details about some of the subjects. It'll just be a brief overview, but there will be a chance to ask some questions at the end of the presentation. I've got marketing assisting me this evening and they will be manning a chat channel. So if you have got any questions, just jot those down in the chat channel and marketing will be able to ask me those questions at the end of the presentation. It's going to run for about half an hour and we'll leave about 15 minutes for questions at the end. I'll try and get through the subjects in the department relatively quickly because there are quite a few. Hopefully you can all hear me. If you can't, then again just use the chat channel and marketing will hopefully let me know. We'll sort out any technical issues that we've got. So just to kind of give you a brief overview of the department, we've got an equal split of A Levels and BTEC subjects in the creative and performing arts. So you can see that there is a nice combination of academic and vocational subjects that you can choose. Generally speaking, most of the A-level subjects have a BTEC equivalent. So if you feel like you are more of a hands-on learner or a practical learner, then there's almost certainly going to be something that we can offer you in terms of the vocational element. And if you're more academic, then you might want to choose one of the A levels. So there's a brief overview of the 16 different subjects that we offer in our department, and I'm sure there'll be something for all of you tuned in this evening. So I'm just going to go through these systematically and give you a brief overview of what each of the subjects are about, and there'll be some general sort of information towards the end. So we'll start with fine art. Fine art is predominantly coursework based, even though it's an A level. There is a large emphasis on the coursework here, and 40% of it is assessed by an exam. This is not a normal sit-down exam, though. It's a 15-hour exam over 3 days where you get to create and produce a project and a final piece. The key thing with art and design, and one of the things that we're most proud of in fine art, is the range of different skills that you pick up throughout the 2 years. So generally speaking, the first year is dedicated to skills acquisition and skills development, and it's done on a project by project basis. So you'll do about 3 projects in your first year, and the second year is pretty much all dedicated to that 60% coursework and that 40% exam. Fine art is one of our jewels really in the department in terms of trips and visits and exhibitions and visitors. We're really lucky that obviously we've got London on our doorstep. So if you do take A-level fine art, you'll often find yourself in London at one of the exhibitions, at one of the galleries, and you'll have lots of opportunities to kind of enrich your knowledge and develop your knowledge of fine art as you go through the 2 years. One of the things that is worth pointing out is the progression route. So lots of our students who take fine art want to continue after they've done A-level fine art. So there's lots of opportunities to explore foundation degrees and degree courses. And obviously you can be, if you're lucky enough, you can go straight into the employment arena after this subject. Something to bear in mind, like all our arts subjects, is that you will be required to buy an art kit at the start of your first year, which is £60. And that includes everything that you'll need to start the course and to complete the course well. So that's a little bit about fine art. Photography is very, very close to fine art in terms of the classrooms. So you'll kind of see lots of fine artists and photographers and creatives all in the same in the same area. That top bullet point gives you an idea of the kind of things that you're going to be studying in A-level photography. So you'll be doing film photography, which is celluloid film. So we'll use things like the dark room and the archaic kind of methods of film photography, which lots of students get a great deal out of. Many of our students won't have done that before. They'll be used to kind of digital photography. That's usually quite exciting for them. On the other hand, though, we do have Photoshop and digital programs and software that we offer our students if digital photography is the thing that you're most interested in. Same as fine art. This is assessed by 60% coursework and 40% exam. The emphasis really here is developing your practical skills, but perhaps slightly differently to the BTEC is that you're also going to sharpen your communication skills and your analytical skills and your research skills. So this is arguably more academic than the BTEC, and it offers you a few more transferable skills that perhaps the BTEC might not. Still very hands-on, still very practical, and at the end of 2 years you'll still be very much skilled up in terms of your starting point to where you finish. Graphic Communications is our newest course. We added Graphic Communications 2 years ago. So we are just getting our first batch of students through the Graphic Communications course, and it's been really, really successful and popular. We added this course because we felt as though quite a few students were interested in things like packaging and advertising and graphic design and so on and so forth, and we didn't have a subject that really satisfied students who wanted to do that. So we brought this subject on board, and as you can see with the slide that's on screen at the moment, you get lots of opportunities there to practice things like branding and packaging and advertising, and we even do things like stop motion animation and flash animation and so on and so forth. You've got full access to Adobe Creative Cloud, art studios, dark rooms, photographies, and so on and so forth. And similar to the other art subjects, you've got the opportunity to go on lots of trips and visits to galleries and so on. I think one of the first trips that you'll go on the Graphic Communications course is to the Museum of Brands, which is a really exciting trip out into London. In terms of progression, this is a great course if you want to go into things like marketing and web design, illustration, and it's a nice blend between your traditional art subjects like fine art and perhaps your more contemporary subjects like photography and illustration and marketing and advertising and so on. A-level product design. This is essentially a new course. It used to be called design technology product design, but we've changed it slightly. As a student, you won't probably notice a great deal of difference. The emphasis is still very much on the list of things you can see on the screen at the moment. You'll cover things like interior design, exhibition, body ornamentation, which is jewellery basically, and also some exciting things like design for theatre and film and television. And I know that some of the students are already kind of looking at things like furniture design and so on and so forth. So a really good course there if you want to get into things like furniture making or set design or exhibition design. So it's a broad subject that deals perhaps with more three-dimensional art as opposed to two-dimensional art that you might see in fine art. This is still very much got its roots in design technology. So we do have a workshop, a fully functional workshop, which has got lathes and so on and so forth, milling machines and welding, etc., etc. And we're looking hopefully to bring in 1 or 2 bits of equipment this year to keep ourselves up to speed. So there's lots of crossovers there between the design world and the art world. Okay, so film studies. This is a subject that I teach on, so it's one that's very close to my heart. So Film studies, as the name suggests, is really about films, the study of film. And over 2 years, you'll be looking at 11 different films, and they range from films that were created in the late 1950s, like Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, right through into some more contemporary films made in 2016, things like Selma, which is about Martin Luther King. So 11 films that span a number of years, and we'll look at those alongside things like film theories and contextual studies, and we'll start to understand how the industry works and how and why people react to certain films, and so on and so forth. So in terms of assessment, it is predominantly an essay-based subject. We expect quite a lot of written work from our film studies students. But as you can see at the bottom there, 30% of this course is assessed through means of coursework, and that can either be a script or a short film. So you do still get the opportunity to create something practical and get hands-on, but something to bear in mind is that this is predominantly analytical and theory-based, and you'll be expected to do quite a bit of writing here. We try and do trips with film studies every year. We get out to museums, and we go to the Warner Brothers studios every year to what people might know as Harry Potter World, but we kind of go behind the scenes and get hands-on and up close and personal with some of the things that were on set on Harry Potter. So it's a really exciting course, and as you might expect, this is a great course if you want to get into the film industry. Lots of our students go on to some superb universities, either at Bournemouth or at Reading or at Royal Holloway, to continue their studies, and we've got lots of great links with those universities. Media studies is fairly similar in many ways to film studies. It's the study of media. The major difference, though, is it pretty much looks at everything apart from film. So you'll be looking at everything from gaming to advertising to newspapers to radio to magazines and so on. So if you've got a broad interest in media and not specifically film studies, this course might be more appropriate for you. And it really is an all-encompassing course that allows you to kind of study lots of different medias and very important subjects, we think, in our department, because essentially media, as you probably are aware, is the bedrock of much of modern society, and we're engaged in the media all the time. So it's a great subject to take if you're interested in that. As it says, second bullet point down there, you've got 2 written exams, which are worth 70%, and again 30% of it is coursework. So it is heavily weighted towards written exams, and your coursework, you will either create a music video or you will create a magazine layout. As with film studies, you've got access to lots of production equipment and software, including Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and so on and so forth. In terms of progression, the world is your oyster, really, in many ways. You can see a whole host of different things that you can go on to at the bottom there in terms of journalism, marketing, film, music video production, graphic design, advertising, PR. So in terms of keeping your options open and developing opportunities for progression, media studies is a great subject to take if you're not entirely sure what it is that you want to go on to after college. Music technology, we'll go on to the performing arts now. So music technology is a great subject that essentially is the more technical side of music as opposed to the performance side of music. So as it says on the screen at the moment, you're making music, but perhaps not in the traditional sense in terms of being in a band and so on and so forth. It's very much computer based. And you'll start to understand the more technical aspects of audio and so on. So you'll get an insight into that aspect, and you'll also get an insight into the music industry as a career. It is a creative subject, but it's underpinned, as it says on the screen there, by an understanding of technology and the more sort of nuanced elements of music. 40% of this is coursework, so it's quite a big chunk of this course is assessed through means of coursework, and that's 20% recording and 20% composition. The recording essentially is, as it says there on the screen, is just your ability to record other people and get that sound right. The composition is an opportunity for you to kind of create a song, but perhaps not with instruments. It's more digital and so on and so forth. And 60% of the course is exam based and slightly different to your sit down and write exams. It's a listening exam and a production exam. Music technology and the music department generally offer lots and lots of different trips and visits, and they've got a particular interest in progression. So they do lots of trips to places like AMC and BIM and so on and so forth. So you'll be in good hands if you want to go on to further study in terms of music technology. Okay, I think this is our last A level. So drama and theatre studies, again, is heavily weighted towards coursework, 60% coursework. The key thing with drama and theatre studies is it's as much about the study of plays and playwriting as it is about acting and performance. So if you are more interested in, let's say, the production of plays and directing plays and so on and so forth, this might be your preferred choice as opposed to a BTEC in acting, which I'll get onto in just a moment. So I think that covers our A levels. Let's move on to our BTEC. So the first BTEC I'm going to talk about is BTEC in Art and Design. First thing to point out about the BTEC in Art and Design is that this is a diploma, so it's worth 2 A levels. It's a big commitment. It takes up 2/3 of your timetable. So you've got to be really committed to wanting to do art and design if you pick this subject. It's not ideal for those who've got a mild interest or think it sounds interesting. This is a real commitment, so it's worth pointing that out just before we get into this. So similar to the A level in fine art, over the 2 years in BTEC Art and Design, you're going to get a whole range of skills that you're going to pick up throughout the 2 years, and that can be anything from ceramics to painting, textiles, graphic design, photography. They're just some of the topics and skills that are covered in BTEC Art and Design, and again, it's very much project based. So it's project based, and there's lots of freedom for you to kind of develop your own style and develop your own skills as you go throughout the course. It's BTEC's just some broad kind of information on BTECs. They're assessed through means of pass, merit and distinction rather than your classic A star to E grade. So slightly different assessment method, but something to bear in mind about your BTEC Art and Design is that it's 100% coursework based. So there are no exams to sit. There's no pressure in terms of exams. It's essentially project based, and you will be assessed by your teachers, the teachers that teach you in terms of pass, merit and distinction. One of the things that I would advise if you do take this is you've got to be good at managing your workload, because there is a lot of work and you've got to be self-motivated and self-disciplined to complete this work. It's not one for those who are perhaps slightly work shy at times. This is something, this is a real commitment, this course, but it's very rewarding as well if you put your back into it. Some of the trips that we go on, again, because we've got London on our doorstep, you'll find yourself at the Tate Gallery, you'll find yourself at pop-up exhibitions and galleries and so on and so forth. We have people who come into the college to do things like live drawing. We have the Royal Drawing School come in. We have the University of Arts London come in. So we've got one eye all the time on what it is that you're going to be doing next if you take art and design. BTEC Photography is changing to a slightly different specification this year. It's still coursework based. You're not going to be sitting any exams in terms of being in an exam hall or anything like that. But some of the units that we're doing are going to be externally set and externally marked. You won't really notice a great deal of difference. It's just that your teacher, Richards or Shireen, won't be marking your work. But similar to A-level photography, you're going to develop a lot of different skills. You're going to develop lots of different styles of photography and investigate lots of different styles of photography. And again, it's both digital and film based. So you'll get to understand how the darkroom works. You'll get to understand how to develop photos, and those traditional methods will come to the fore, as well as the digital methods. So similar to all the art subjects, you'll be required to buy a photography kit, £65, and that covers most of what you'll need throughout the 2 years of study. Okay, so BTEC Digital Content Production. This is a course we brought on 4 or 5 years ago now, and it's been really successful and it's really popular. The best way to describe this course is it's a nice combination of graphic design and journalism. So there's a nice split between you designing magazine page layouts and front pages and so on and so forth, and also writing stories as well. So if you're interested in journalism or you're interested in graphic design, but feel like you would want to do a little bit of journalism as well, this is a course that you might be interested in. So as it says on the screen there, we've got a dedicated Apple Mac suite. We've got 20 Macintosh computers in our Mac Studio, which is, as you're probably aware, industry standard. We've got DSLRs. We have a photography studio, and we've got lots of equipment and software that will get you prepped and ready to go with this particular course. BTEC TV and Film. This is one of our mainstays in the department. It's a very, very popular course, and as the title suggests, this is really a subject for those who are keen to get into the TV and film industry. And similar to the BTEC in Art Design, this is a diploma as well. So it's worth 2 A levels. It's equivalent of 2 A levels, and it will take up 2/3 of your timetable. So again, it's a real commitment. And if you are mildly interested in the TV and film industry, I wouldn't necessarily advise that this subject is one that you take. It's really for those who are very, very keen to get into the moving image industry and specifically the TV and film industry. Some of the things that you'll be studying then, or some of the things that you'll cover with BTEC TV and Film, is stop motion animation, single camera production. You'll get to grips with storyboarding and script writing. You will teach you how to edit properly, and also more kind of industry based units like responding to a commission. And as it says on the screen there, we're also going to take you on trips to Warner Brothers, and we'll take you to film festivals and the BFI on the South Bank as well. We've got plenty of equipment, and we add to our equipment every year. So we've got high quality lights, LED panels, sound recorders, microphones, Canon DSLRs, and so on and so forth. So you won't be stuck for equipment or software, and that allows our students to create really, really good short films and music videos and adverts and so on and so forth. In terms of progression, this is a course that has a nice healthy split of students who want to go on to university, want to go straight into the industry, or want to go on to apprenticeships. And all of our teachers who teach on the TV and film course are all well positioned to advise you on your next steps after you've finished BTEC TV and Film. We know when all the apprenticeship schemes come online, and we have really good links with feeder universities like St Mary's. We often go for a taster day at St Mary's University in Twickenham to get you guys and girls thinking about what university might look like if you wanted to take BTEC or wanted to take film or media on to the next stage. BTEC Music Performance then, as it suggests, this is really if you are interested in developing your skills as a music performer. It's 100% coursework based. There is a real emphasis on you being on stage. So as you can see there, the second bullet point down, you're going to be expected to sing at gigs, not just in college, but at local venues as well. And you need to be kind of open-minded in terms of the kind of thing that you play. So in terms of genres, you'll cover everything from rock and roll of the 1950s to more contemporary kind of dance and hip hop songs and so on and so forth. One of the key things about this course is it's really geared towards you entering the industry. So if you want to know how to promote and sell your own music and understand the music community, then this would be a really good course for you to take. in terms of getting onto this course, you have to have played an instrument for a couple of years, or at the very least show a keen interest in playing music. And one of the things that we offer at Strode's in the music department is the opportunity to gain your grade 5 music theory. So you don't necessarily have to have your music theory to get onto this course, but you have got the option to acquire this as you go through the course. BTEC Acting, so we talked briefly earlier about the A-level in drama and theatre studies, and this is kind of the more hands-on practical version of the A-level. If you are solely interested in performing and solely interested in developing your skills as an actor or a screenwriter and so on and so forth, then this is the course for you, really. We've got great drama studios, brilliant rehearsal spaces. We've just had a new performance floor fitted a couple of years ago in our drama studio. So you'd be well equipped and well served on this course. And if acting and performance is the kind of thing that you're interested in, then this is definitely one for yourself. The performing arts team are really proud of the course, the trip, that they run every year, and they've been all over the place in terms of Barcelona and New York, and again, because we've got London on our doorstep, we're very lucky to kind of take our students in the performing arts area of the department to performances and so on and so forth. And last couple then, we've got BTEC Dance, and again, if you are a dancer or want to develop your skills as a dancer, or indeed go into the performance dance related performance world, then this is definitely the course for you. There are a range of different units on this course which look at everything from being a healthy dancer, so that is more kind of science-based, or certainly about the body as opposed to performance, but we've also got things like choreography for live performance. So if you're interested in being a choreographer, then obviously this is a course that you might want to pick up, and also you've got the standard and the staple unit at the top there, which is called developing skills and techniques for performance. So one of the key things, and one of the things that we're most proud about on this course, is our dance teacher, Eleanor Turner, who was shortlisted for Teacher of the Year this year. So it's a real selling point for us, is that we've got a great teacher in Eleanor, and you'll be in very good hands with Eleanor. She's a great teacher, and she takes the students very far. And last but certainly not least, we also offer in the department a level 2 qualification in media. So for those who don't quite get the grades to get onto a level 3 course, we do have a really exciting and really creative course to offer you. And as it says on the screen here, when you take level 2 media, you're introduced to a broad range of media skills. So it kind of looks at everything from desktop publishing, so that's graphic design, sound, editing, filming, and general sort of media skills. Now, this is a really good course because then it offers you an insight into courses that you might want to do at level 3. So if, for example, you get really excited about the sound element of the level 2 course, you might want to go on to music technology. If you like the desktop publishing element of this course, you might want to go on and do graphic communications or digital content production. But there's loads and loads of really exciting things going on in this course. So fear not, if you don't quite get the grades to get onto level 3, we have a really exciting level 2 course for those who want to pick up a media and creative subject. Some broad stuff then, just before we finish, I'm mindful that time is ticking on, is some expectations. So in terms of attendance and punctuality, it's something that we're really keen on in our department, because we know that the creative industries and the creative world is a very hard place in terms of finding work and staying in work. And one of the key things that we like to teach is employability skills. And we know that attendance and punctuality in this sector is absolutely crucial. So we're really keen to make sure that our students arrive on time and that they are there, you know, their attendance is good. Dress code. The general dress code in college is fairly relaxed within reason, but I should probably talk more specifically about some of the more physical courses such as dance and performing arts. You'd be expected to kind of wear your performance blacks and so on and so forth, but there'll be a lot more information about that on the website and on bits of other marketing material. Behaviour, we are an adult environment. We don't treat you as school children. We listen as well as talk, and that's one of the great things about taking one of our subjects, is it's very much a collaborative effort. So we will give you the raw materials in order to kind of learn and develop your skills, but we kind of allow you to develop as an individual, and that relies on a bit of maturity, a little bit of sensible behaviour and professionalism. Lanyards are something that we need to wear all the time. Again, it's about employability and so on and so forth, and it's also a safety issue as well. So you'll be issued a lanyard at the start of the year, and it's something that all teachers and students are expected to wear. Respecting the college environment is something that's particularly important to us in the creative and performing arts, because we have a lot of equipment which is expensive. So we want you to take care of our equipment, not just because it helps you, but it helps other students as well. So things like the cameras, which can cost, you know, hundreds if not thousands of pounds at times. We're looking for students to respect the college environment and respect the equipment as well. I've already talked about employability, but we are keen to make sure that you are ready to go into the industry as soon as you leave college, if that is something that you want to do. And obviously, we're expecting you to come in September ready to learn. So I'm sure you've probably heard a little bit about trips and visits from other department presentations if you've been in those. I've talked a little bit about our trips and visits, but one of the things that I want to draw your attention to is something called the Gold Arts Award, which is an extra qualification that you can pick up. And as people, as students who might be coming into the creative and performing arts, this might be an award or a qualification that you might like to take. It's free rein in terms of what you focus on, and it's an extra kind of selling point for you if you're going on to university or going into the world of work. And there are a few other bits and pieces on there in terms of how to get involved with the college community. And one of the things that I'd really suggest is that you do get involved with things like student parliament and student learner voice and the student union and so on and so forth. It really helps you enter the college community, and we're really proud about the community that we kind of host at Strode. So that's a little bit about our department. I'm happy to take any questions now. I'm sorry that was kind of fairly swift and rapid, but when you've got 16 courses to get through, you kind of got to speak fairly quickly. So hopefully you've kind of taken something from that brief introduction to our courses.
Thank you, Simon. That was fantastic. Really, really thorough. Covered everything really well. We have got questions coming in, so if I can just ask one or two, that would be great. If you're taking A-level photography, do you need your own equipment?
The short answer to that is it would be useful if you had your own DSLR. Now, the thing that we are mindful of is that DSLRs are not cheap. So are we asking students to go out and buy £600, £700 £800 worth of camera to join the course? The short answer is no. We do have cameras that we can loan students. So if you have your own camera, then great. That's going to be really, really useful. If you don't, it doesn't mean that you can't join the course. One of the things to bear in mind, though, is that we do require students to buy an art pack or a photography pack at the start of the year, which will have all the equipment, aside from the cameras, obviously, all the materials that you'll need throughout the year. So short answer is no, you don't have to have your own equipment, but does it help? Yes, it does.
Great. Just another question here. Can students take film and media A-levels?
Can they take both of them?
Yeah.
Yes, they certainly can. And I would say that students who have done both subjects have always done really well in both subjects, because they supplement each other really, really well. So if you're learning about how to sort of analyse moving image and analyse the creative industries in film studies, then that's quite easy to kind of transfer onto things like music videos or TV or magazines. So yes, you can take both of them, and if you are really interested in getting into the creative industries, then I would probably suggest that it's something that you do.
Great, thank you. Do we offer work experience in TV and film?
We do, yeah. In fact, it's a requirement now. So we do offer work experience, how it's worked historically, and we're always developing our work experience offering. In the first year, we run a sort of an in-house kind of marketing work experience scenario, where students will essentially create marketing for different departments and so on and so forth. In the second year, that's really over to the students in terms of them finding their own work experience, but we give students a week where they're off timetable, and during that week they're expected to be on some kind of work experience. We support students through that process, so we won't necessarily find the work experience for them, mainly because finding work is really part of work experience. You know, you've got to kind of look for work yourself and understand that process in order to be employable in many ways. But yes, there is a requirement. So if you do BTEC TV and film, you will certainly be doing work experience at some point over the 2 years.
Great, thank you. Another question was, and I think you mentioned this earlier, we just might want to clarify a little bit about it, is do you have to wear whole black for every lesson? You mentioned about wearing the blacks.
Oh, for dance and and acting. No, is the short answer. You don't. It's mainly because not every single lesson that you have in dance and acting, you're not going to be performing in every one. You know, it's not going to be a physical lesson every time. There are some lessons where you may well be doing research projects at a computer, so there's no point in you getting changed into theatre blacks and plimsolls and leotards to kind of sit at a computer. That wouldn't be necessary, but you will be told by your teacher when you need to bring in your performance attire, which is theatre blacks, but you'll be told well in advance of that. So no is the short answer, but there obviously are going to be times when you do need to wear those theatre blacks.
I know this answer is going to be variable, really, depending upon the course and level, but can you give any guidance to what the sort of GCSE grades are for the BTEC courses?
Yeah, absolutely. So generally speaking, with the BTEC courses, you'll be expected to get 4 GCSEs at grade 4 or above. And generally speaking, there's a prerequisite there to have an English or a maths qualification as well. The A levels, depending on what you take, are slightly different. Firstly, you're going to need 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above, and certain subjects, take fine art for example, you're going to have to either have got I think it's a grade 5 at GCSE art, or if you haven't had the opportunity to take an art subject at GCSE, you'll need to provide us with a portfolio of evidence. So we do offer discretionary entry for the art courses. Same with photography, same with graphic communications. You'll certainly need some evidence that you can work at level 3 in terms of art and design, but each of the courses have got slightly nuanced entry grades. But a general sort of ballpark answer is that if you're doing one of the BTECs, you're going to need 4 GCSEs at grade 4 and above. If you're doing one of the A levels, you're going to need 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above, and you're going to have to provide us with some kind of evidence that you're going to manage on one of those courses.
Thank you. What about the trips abroad? You mentioned some of those. Are they in the first or second year for acting?
It depends really, because generally speaking, what we do is we open them up to second years first and see how popular it is, because we'll book a certain amount of places on the trip, and we may well open it up to second years. To first years, if depending on how popular the course or not, how popular or not the trip is. But whatever year you're in, whether it's first years or second years, every single one of our courses in the department will offer you some kind of trip. Not all of them are abroad, because they are obviously we have to kind of balance taking you out of education for a week or several days with with kind of the educational academic merit of the trip. But yeah, they are difficult to organise, so we do try and run a few of them every year, but historically we've managed to get our students to New York and Barcelona. I know that New York is in the pipeline this year, for next year, so we can certainly say that is in the planning stages. Obviously things have kind of been put on ice a little bit with the pandemic going on at the moment, but we're certainly ready to pick that up in terms of organisation when we get back in September. And yeah, we'll kind of offer information out to students as and when we've kind of cemented those details.
Thank you. Somebody's just asked, if you do a BTEC course that takes 2/3 of your time, do you have to take another course as well?
Yes, you certainly do. So if, for example, you took BTEC Art Design, which is a diploma, you will be expected to take another single subject alongside that. Now, that could be it could be A Level Photography, it could be a BTEC in digital content production, it could be something like sociology or maths or whatever. But yes, you do have to take another subject if you're taking one of the diplomas. Thank you. And just a very sort of basic one, but how long is a normal day at college? Well, so the timetable is going to look very different to your school timetable. The main reason being is that you won't be expected to be in lesson from the start of the day until the end of the day. So how it works, basically, there are 4 periods in a day, and we start the college day at 8:45 and finish at 4 o'clock. On a Monday, you might only be in from, let's say, 12:45 until 4 o'clock. Tuesday, you might have a full day back to back, so you might start at 8:45 and finish at 4 o'clock. Wednesday, you might have a lesson at 8:45 and then finish your lessons at 10:30. So it really depends on a student by student basis. The one thing that we do say, though, is that because you're already in the habit of going to college at, let's say, 8:30 or 8:45 and leaving, school at 3:30 or 4 o'clock or whatever, get into the habit of doing that at Strode. We've got loads and loads of areas where you can carry on working outside of lesson. And the big difference that you're going to find when you come to Strode, when you come to college, is that the onus is on you to be an independent learner. We are not going to be chasing you all the time to do your work. There is an expectation that you want to be there. And if you want to be there, then the assumption is that you're going to want to do the work. So those free periods or blank spaces on your timetable, it's really good practice early on to kind of block those out with independent study for specific subjects. That's great. So I think we've had lots of questions in. Karen's answered quite a few as well. Just a last call if anybody's got any more questions they want to ask Simon. Looks like that's it for now. We're going to be online for a couple more minutes anyway, so if you think of anything just after we've signed off, the chat room is still going to be open for a couple more minutes to answer your questions. And Simon, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. My pleasure. And yeah, hopefully we'll see lots of you either this September or in September 2021 it'll be now, won't it? Yeah, great. Thank you. All right, no problem. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.